You know, we came here from Iran, and one thing that I noticed is a lot of people want a good life, a lot of people want to do good things, a lot of people want the dream, they want to send their kids to school, they want to go to Europe every year, they want to do all that stuff, but they also want to be home after 5 o'clock, and that's not a winning formula. And I wanted to see where this whole thing got started. So one of the things I'll encourage you to do is I highly encourage you to go investigate the story of the 8-hour workday. How did the 8-hour workday get started? Who came up with the 8-hour workday? Why is the 8-hour? Is it a winning formula? Is it a poor formula? Is it one of the reasons why so many Americans are struggling nowadays? Because they have been bought into this idea that we need to be home after 5 o'clock to watch, you know, a certain love show. Or we need to watch Desperate Housemen, or we need to watch, you know, a certain show that's singing, and we get inspired, so I have to be home by this time to watch this person sing, and they're going after their dreams, but by watching them, I'm getting inspired. I don't know. So I wanted to find out, are the American people working harder or working less as time goes by? I don't know, maybe that has a lot to do with our current income, because maybe we've been persuaded to think that the only way you make money is by having a job. Maybe we've been persuaded to think that the only way you and I can have a good life is by working 9 to 5. Maybe somebody's told you that's the way you got to do it. That's the American way. You get out of school, you go to college, you get in debt $100,000, spend 20, 30 years paying for it, you get a job, ties you down at the job, you sign up for a 401k plan, hope for a pension plan. Nowadays, no more pensions, and next thing you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, you are going to have this awesome, fantastic life, which is a lie, because that doesn't happen. That rarely ever happens. How often does one person stay with one job for 30, 40 years? Nowadays, you don't hear that too often anymore, because it's all about net profits. But I want to tell you these numbers here, and I promise you're going to be shocked by some of these numbers here. Okay, so U.S. Department of Interior. I got a question for you. I want you to guess it, and you tell me what you think about this. How many hours do you think the average American worked in 1830s per week? How many hours do you think the average American works per week in 1830? I want you to guess. Now, I can't hear you. Not 50, not 55, not 60, not even 65, no, not 40. The average American worked 69.1 hours per week in 1830. This is based on U.S. Department of Interior and U.S. Senate. 69 hours per week. That's 10-hour workday, 7 days a week. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work, right? Well, I mean, I thought that was a lot of work to me before I got involved in business, and I didn't have a lot of money. I wasn't doing well financially, and I thought 40 hours a week was a winning formula, and I found out when I went to the bank account that is not a winning formula, and the stress it causes is definitely not a winning formula. But I want you to follow with me here. First time America cracked 50 hours per week, it was 58.5 hours per week in 1900. Then it went to 48 hours per week in 1929. You might know why that is in 1929. And today, what would you say the average American works per week today? You are going to be shocked. The average American right now works 39.2 hours per week. Yes, 39.2 hours per week. We're not talking about whether they have a job or not, because in 1830s, people didn't have a job. They were salesmen. They sold something. They were a farmer. They woke up, they sold milk. They had something that they did that they sold. It was a salesman doing something. So people worked. They worked. They knew about hard work back in the days, because we didn't have all these distractions from internet to TV to text to email to Z-mail to whatever you want to call it. Social network. Everything and everything has gotten people to forget about one simple thing, which is work ethic. Now, here's another number for you that's going to be fascinating. Here's another number for you. I want you to think about this. In 1880s, the average American, I want you to think about leisure time, how many hours they had leisure hours in their lives. The average American in the 1830s had 43,800 hours of leisure time. This is in 1830, 1880, 43,000 hours of leisure time. You know what that hour is today? You are ready to be shocked what that hour is today? Today, the average American is estimated to have roughly 200,000 hours of leisure time. And we are wondering why so many people are having a hard time. Well, because media has persuaded you and manipulated you and I to believe that we need to just work 40 hours per week. And that's the winning formula. And I think you would agree that it's not working. It's a broken formula. And we're having a very hard time with it right now. And people are starting to realize I may need to pick up a secondary income after work because it's not cutting it anymore. Credit cards going up, interest rates going up, inflation going up, taxes going up. Do you think my same income today is going to make 5, 10? No. 6 figures today, 10 years? No. What am I going to do? You see what we both have in common? Here's what we both have in common. You and I both. Doesn't matter whether you're Caucasian, African American, Hispanic, Asian, left, right, tall, short, educated, not degree, no, it does not matter. Whatever it is, we have one thing in common. You want to win, I want to win. You want to make your family proud, I want to make my family proud. You want to do something big, I want to do something big. You want to make history, I want to make history. You want to go out there and become somebody special where you look back saying, hey, I did something big in my life. And I'm not saying you're not, that's not what we're talking. I'm just saying something really magnificently big. And I think you have come to realize, at least I think so, most people have come to realize that working 8 to 5 isn't a way to go. It's going to take a little bit more work than that. And it's going to be tough to make that adjustment. It's going to be sometimes that's going to be more challenging. But, you know, when you hear these stories of all these athletes, all these celebrities, all these people we watch, if you want to be a professional baseball player, I don't know if you know this or not, it's 30 days of preseason, 30 games of preseason. Then you play 162 games of season, which is 162 games, 81 home, 81 away. It's more than 5.5 months, and 30 games here, that's 6.5 months. And if you make it into playoffs, it's possibly a week to 4 weeks. That's 7 months of you traveling all over the place, but you and I, millions, tens of them, watch them on TV and say, man, I'm rooting for my team. You know, basketball, they play 82 games in the season, 41 home, 41 away. They play 8 preseason, up to 28 games in playoffs. They're away traveling, but they want to do something big. But they work very hard. There is no such thing as working 8 hours a week and making the Major League Baseball. There's no such thing as working 8-hour week and making it in the Major League, you know, playing in the NBA or the NFL or the NHL, or even making it big in Hollywood. They have 16, 18, 20-hour work days once in a while. A writer writes for hours at a time without being distracted or being interrupted. What makes you, who has told us that we are going to have that magical life working 8 hours a week? I doubt that formula works. And I think you would probably also agree with me. And the focus, I believe, in America, we need to get away from saying, hey, we'll do all this stuff for you, we'll do this for you, is to go back and saying, why don't you get involved in sales? Why don't you go become an entrepreneur? Why don't you work 10 more hours per week, 15 more hours per week? Find out something on the side and start doing. Sell something, make something, sell something, and see what that's going to do to us. And I think when people do that and they realize what their capacity is, their vision gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Just like it happened to me, a regular guy, 1.8 GPA. I didn't think I was going to become this somebody that's going to do something big, but as I got involved, my vision got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And next thing you know, you start believing that anything is possible, because a quote inspired me once said, sometimes on the way to a dream, you get lost and find a bigger one. That's what happened to us. We got lost and find a bigger one. That could also happen to you. On that note, my challenge to you, pick up another 10 or 15 hours a week to work. It's going to be tough at first, but it's a lot tougher to struggle financially for a long time, arguing with the spouse and going through those days where daughter comes home and says, Mommy, Daddy, how come we don't have a pool in the backyard? How come we don't go to Hawaii? How come we don't go to Europe? And how do you answer that? Is it an answer of rich people don't have a good life, or is it an answer of, well, baby, we're working hard to make that happen. That's why we took additional 15 hours per week. Is this why you come home late night? Yes, baby, so we can go to Hawaii, so you can have this house. And I think deep down in your heart, you do want to do that. And you know when you do, it's a great feeling. Great feeling.